Who you are, where you from?
My name is Iam Tongi, and I'm from Kahuku, Hawaii.
Like Wayani said the other time, like the dreams, it's like a dream come true. And she said, we're living a dream right now.
She and you, wherever I go.
Preparing myself in that moment, preparing myself for whatever happens, you know what I mean? Because no matter what happens.
In May 2023, the world watched a boy from Kahuku, Hawaii do the impossible. But as applause faded, the truth quietly emerged. Not every fairy tale ends in gold. When Iam Tongi, just 18 years old, claimed the American Idol crown, he didn't just win a competition, he captured a nation's heart. With teary eyes and a voice heavy with grief, he stood on stage a few months after burying his father. It felt like a storybook ending, the kind that warms hearts and inspires millions. But what followed wasn't the fairy tale many had hoped for. Whispers of doubt, sharp criticism, and a storm of internet debates would soon cloud the glow of his victory. Fame had come swiftly, but so had judgment, and the weight of a legacy that extended far beyond music. For Iam Tongi, the real story was only just beginning. In an earlier season of American Idol, Iam Tongi walked into the audition room and quietly walked out, eliminated before viewers ever saw his face. That rejection might have ended his journey if not for a mother who refused to let her son's dream die. Without telling him, she signed him up again. When Iam found out, he nearly backed out. The sting of failure was still fresh, but something changed. He showed up, guitar in hand, carrying the silent weight of his father's recent death and a heart still learning to beat without him. Then came a moment that would alter everything. Standing before Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and Luke Bryan, Iam delivered a trembling, soul-stirring version of James Blunt's Monsters. The song was a tribute to his late father, and it didn't just hit the judges, it hit the nation. Within 48 hours, his audition exploded online. Millions watched as this shy teenager cried on stage, yet held his note. He wasn't just singing, he was grieving. By the end of the week, the video had drawn over 16 million views and added over 100,000 followers to the show's Instagram. Suddenly, Iam Tongi had gone from unknown to unforgettable. For Iam Tongi, the Hollywood round was supposed to be his time to shine, but what unfolded backstage nearly shattered his spirit. In the middle of one of the most crucial weeks of the competition, Iam's beloved guitar, gifted by his late father, suddenly broke. It wasn't just an instrument, it was a lifeline. A promise, a symbol of everything his father had poured into him. The damage wasn't just physical, it was personal. And as if fate were testing him further, his voice began to fail too. Under the pressure of cameras, lights, and grief, Iam found himself choking on more than lyrics. He was overwhelmed. He broke down in tears before the judges, admitting he'd promised his dad he'd always play with that guitar. It was his way of keeping him close, but somehow he gathered the strength to go on. And when he returned to perform, guitarless for the first time, there was a quiet power in his presence. The boy who needed his father's guitar was now standing on his own, and the judges saw something they couldn't ignore: resilience forged in heartbreak. When Iam Tongi walked onto the American Idol finale stage, no one expected what would happen next. The same song that started his journey, James Blunt's haunting ballad Monsters, would now become his closing act. But this time, he wasn't singing alone. James Blunt himself joined him in a duet that left the entire audience breathless. As they began, the theater seemed to hold its breath. Iam's voice trembled, and halfway through the performance, the emotion overtook him. He broke down in front of millions, but he didn't stop. He pushed through, wiping tears from his eyes, leaning into the lyrics with a kind of pain that can't be rehearsed. The judges didn't speak. They didn't need to. The silence in the room said everything. Afterward, James Blunt spoke candidly, revealing how much the moment had touched him. He praised Iam's raw vulnerability, pointing to the desperation and honesty in the song's lines, "I'll leave a light on." It wasn't just a performance. It was a farewell, a love letter, a son's promise to keep his father's memory alive. In that final moment, Iam Tongi didn't just win a show. He won the hearts of millions all over again. But even as confetti rained down and Iam Tongi was crowned the newest American Idol, a storm was quietly brewing online. Critics took to social media almost instantly, arguing that his victory wasn't about talent. It was about tragedy. They called it a sympathy win, claiming voters had been swayed more by Iam's heartbreaking backstory than his voice. Some accused the judges of emotional manipulation. Others dismissed the entire season as a sob story competition. The backlash was swift and painful. For a teenager who had just lost his father and stepped into the spotlight for the first time, the criticism cut deep. But he wasn't alone. Runner-up Megan Danielle, his closest competitor, came to his defense. "Iam is so deserving," she said in an interview. "He's humble and he's incredibly talented. Anyone who stood next to him on that stage knew it." Iam himself responded with quiet grace. He said he never expected to win and would have been happy for anyone who did. But the truth was simple. His voice, his vulnerability, and his authenticity had connected with millions. Whether critics liked it or not, he had earned his place. And while some questioned his victory, those who truly listened understood. They hadn't voted out of pity. They voted because in Iam Tongi, they saw something real. Long before he held a trophy, Iam Tongi carried something more powerful, a mission to represent where he came from. Every song choice he made on American Idol wasn't just strategic, it was personal. By singing tracks like Cool Down by Kolohe Kai, he brought island music, a genre often left in the shadows, into the living rooms of millions across the country. For Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders watching, it wasn't just entertainment, it was validation. Roman de Peralta, lead singer of Kolohe Kai, called Iam's song choice a beautiful pathway for other island artists to be seen and heard by new audiences. Hawaiian Grammy-winning artist Kimi Minor echoed that sentiment, saying, "We don't see a lot of people like us in mainstream music. Iam showed the world that there's a hunger for what we have." This wasn't accidental. Iam made it clear that he wanted to put island music on the map, authentically, unapologetically. He sang in his own style. He dressed like himself. He never tried to fit a mold. And in doing so, he shattered one. For the first time in American Idol's long history, a Pacific Islander winner wasn't just celebrated, he was embraced as a cultural ambassador, making space where there had long been none. Before the lights, the headlines, and the viral fame, Iam Tongi was just a teenager from Kahuku, a small community on the north shore of Oahu, Hawaii. Life there was simple, but far from easy. In 2019, his family was forced to leave the islands, priced out of paradise. They resettled in Federal Way, Washington, where Iam would eventually graduate high school and begin building a dream he hadn't fully realized yet. He's the youngest of 5 siblings, a mix of Samoan, Tongan, and Irish heritage, and a proud member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. His first brush with music came in 5th grade, learning the ukulele. By 13, his father gifted him a guitar, one he had paid for using his holiday bonus. That same guitar became Iam's emotional anchor on Idol, the one that broke during Hollywood Week, the one tied to promises he intended to keep. But few knew Iam was already laying musical groundwork before the show. He released a heartfelt single, Dreams, in 2020, written for his sister's wedding. He quietly put out covers and originals on YouTube, including a touching rendition of ABBA's The Winner Takes It All. These early songs never made headlines, but they told a story of a kid who was already finding his voice and learning how to use it to speak from the heart. Inning American Idol was only the beginning. In the months that followed, Iam Tongi didn't slow down. He soared. One of his first moves was to hit the road, joining a tour that reunited him with fellow contestant and close friend Oliver Steele. Their bond, forged in the pressure cooker of competition, deepened as they shared stages and songs across the country. In Oahu, a local luthier surprised the pair with custom-made ukuleles, symbols of friendship, heritage, and a new chapter in their careers. On July 1, 2023, Iam returned to Hawaii and stepped onto the stage at Turtle Bay Resort. He brought out Roman de Peralta of Kolohe Kai to perform Cool Down, the very song that had once amplified his cultural roots on national television. It was the first time they performed together, and the crowd, bursting with pride, knew they were witnessing something historic. Just days later, he sang the national anthem at the 2023 MLB Home Run Derby, facing a stadium packed with thousands. Nervous but determined, he forgot to remove his baseball cap, a minor slip that earned him empathy, not ridicule. Fans forgave the oversight, understanding that even rising stars carry nerves. And on social media, Iam did what he always does. He owned it with humility. These moments made it clear. Iam Tongi wasn't fading into obscurity after the finale. He was just getting started, evolving from a reality show winner into a genuine recording artist and public figure.
Just months after his Idol victory, Iam Tongi proved he was more than a one-hit story. His career moves were fast, intentional, and deeply personal. In August 2023, he released the studio version of Monsters, this time as a duet with James Blunt. The song that made him famous now carried the weight of both their voices. From covering it on TikTok to performing it with James on national television, this song means everything to me, he wrote in a caption that resonated with thousands. From there, he kept the momentum going. September brought a new original single, Waikiki, a breezy, soulful nod to his roots. Later that year, Iam released a Christmas EP titled Iam Tongi Christmas, featuring his renditions of holiday classics like White Christmas, The Christmas Song, and Mele Kalikimaka. But 2025 would bring his most notable crossover yet. Disney tapped him to record a modern version of Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride for the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch. The moment he performed it back on the Idol stage, not as a contestant, but as an invited guest, it was clear that his voice now carried weight beyond the competition. Offstage, another transformation was underway. In an exclusive May 2025 interview with People magazine, Iam opened up about his health journey. He shared that he'd lost 115 pounds with the help of a personal trainer and a structured wellness routine. Ice baths, walks, workouts. It wasn't glamorous, but it was working. It feels amazing. I feel great, he said, his smile speaking louder than his words. It was a message that hit home for fans. Vulnerability and discipline could coexist and win. Iam Tongi's voice did more than carry melodies. It carried generations. For decades, Asian American and Pacific Islander communities have faced a painful pattern in Hollywood: erasure, stereotyping, and near invisibility. From 2007 to 2019, Pacific Islanders made up less than 4% of co-leads in major films, and almost none of them were women over 40 or LGBTQ. These aren't just numbers, they're barriers, and Iam shattered one on live television. By singing island music on a national stage, he didn't just perform, he represented. He made room for Pacific stories, for barefoot ballads and thick curly hair, for voices that don't sound like the pop machine's blueprint. His win wasn't just a personal victory, it was a cultural breakthrough. Iam Tongi may have started as a contestant, but he walked off the American Idol stage as something much larger, a movement. His voice, shaped by pain and place, broke through the noise of an industry that often overlooks people like him. He didn't chase stardom with gimmicks or glossy perfection. He showed up as himself, raw, imperfect, grounded, and the world leaned in to listen. Even now, as he continues to tour, collaborate, and evolve as an artist, his purpose remains clear. He sings for his father, for Hawaii, for every Pacific Islander another who's been told they don't fit the mold. His success isn't just his own. It belongs to a people, a culture, and a community. Iam Tongi didn't just win American Idol. He cracked open a door that had been shut for generations. And now the rest of us are left with a question. Was this just a moment or the start of something bigger? If Iam Tongi's story moved you, if you felt the power of his voice, the weight of his journey, or the pride of seeing underrepresented communities finally take the spotlight, then don't let this moment end here. Like this video to help more people hear voices that deserve to be heard. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that being true to yourself is the real path to greatness. Drop a comment below. What does Iam Tongi's journey mean to you? What other untold stories should we spotlight next? And if you're not already, subscribe for more deep dives into the people rewriting the rules of fame and identity, one powerful story at a time.